I would like to file a motion to have charges all dismissed due to the Speedy Trial Act. And I don't think it's very fair that with having to go against people that have 8 years of schooling versus my hour and a half. Like, there's no way that will have 30 days to be able to study and defend myself from the time of this trial. You gave me bogus laws to look up and information, and you were biased.
I would suggest you apply for a lawyer instead of just complaining.
Hey everyone, today we've got one of the most bizarre courtroom moments I've ever seen. This guy goes all in, claiming he's a foreign national, as if that somehow makes him exempt from the law. But the real kicker? He actually brings a friend who also believes in this stuff to represent him, because apparently 2 people misunderstanding the law is better than 1. The judge, though? She's not having any of it. She stays sharp and handles the situation perfectly. It's definitely a wild ride, so stick around and watch it all unfold. Let me know in the comments what you think of this whole situation.
The state of Michigan versus Benjamin Macario Martinez, 237407ST, 226707ST, and 162435FY. Concerning the matters then we were set over from last time, Mr. Downing, in regard to the underlying matters that are left open, has there been any progress?
Your Honor, an offer, I believe, was extended to Mr. Martinez by letter dated June 8th, while he's been incarcerated in the jail. We have not heard what his response is, so I will leave it to Mr. Martinez whether he wishes to enter a plea pursuant to that on the 2 files he has to that offer, or seek an adjournment.
All right, we're also here for sentencing on a number of contempt. So in regard to the 2 open charges, Mr. Martinez, and you're proceeding here today in general, are you choosing to proceed without a lawyer here today?
Yes, I am, Your Honor.
So concerning the 2 files that remain open, 6707 and 7407, Ms. Cass apparently sent you another offer after we had court last time. Mr. Martinez, I have no idea what that offer is. The court is not part of any plea bargaining. You have both of these cases here. What is your position in respect to whatever they sent you?
I would like to file a motion to have charges all dismissed due to the Speedy Trial Act. And also, I didn't get, last time we were in court, I expressed to the court that I wasn't able to have reasonable time or an adequate law books. They're old. I only got an hour and a half. I only know some rules for an hour and a half of studying. So out of my freedom of speech and the rules of professional conduct, I'd like to read my motions.
I could be wrong, but it really seems like this guy is just trying to buy time. It feels like he's stalling, hoping the judge will give him more time to find an actual lawyer and delay the case. But what I don't get is, why do sovereign citizens keep using the same arguments when they've never worked? Judges shut this stuff down every single time. It's like watching someone try to unlock a door with something completely useless, and still expecting it to work. It's just wild. But here's my question for you. Do you think he's just pretending not to understand, or does he actually believe the law doesn't apply to him? Let's get back into it.
All right, go right ahead.
For every waste of time and the more money of the people and their state, I would like to say this under the right of free speech, and I would like to invoke on my rights, civil and state laws, to state and file motions and to be treated fairly by judge and prosecution, to uphold all the laws that are to be held in the courts, and so as me representing myself can have a fair chance with having rights infringed upon by any members of the court, and I'm doing so. I'd like to file a motion to have all charges dismissed upon my rights being infringed and violated. Due to these reasons, rights to speedy trial and to have adequate time to with representing myself, and in doing so, these are my civil rights and need to be enforced and protected. Not enough time to study, even after motion, or the judge throughout plea, not able to study in a reasonable time, having defended myself when it was brought to the court's attention and prosecution. If need to, it's all on court record, transcripts and rights of trial by jury, and adequate time to have my own witnesses, which are under the time frame, and the prosecution knowingly didn't explain what or help me, which is repugnant and biased by the court. And for also the court saying and giving false advice, and also for my bond being excessive and also biased in setting bond by stating it's more than fair when I was unable to bond out. And when it was amended, I have reasons why 30 days from the timeline of being able to represent myself is being infringed on. And I'd like to have my trial by jurors, and these are the few offhand as to why. Most of the Speedy Trial Act and also False Pretense Act 774.49, they have to abide by all Supreme Court rules and also rules of professional conduct. Opinion 4, which is federal, asking for help retaining for motion, prosecutors rule 3.8, didn't take action or all actions making sure my rights were protected, and rules 4.3, if they know the law and what I'm saying, these are US Supreme Court, Michigan rules. And
before we get into the most intense part of this case, just a heads up, you might feel a little frustrated trying to make sense of this. I know I did after just a few minutes. But seriously, let's jump right in, because this situation is wild. So, this sovereign citizen actually brought a friend along, claiming he's an attorney general. The problem? That's completely illegal if he's practicing law without a license. You can't just wake up one day and decide you're a lawyer, but apparently, in the sovereign citizen world, that's exactly how it works. Let me know what you think as we watch this unfold. Let's get into it.
Impartial trial, miscarriage, also People versus Lehman, stating that I shouldn't be in jail or in prison for fines when able to prove I was unable to meet the court's obligations. And I was also in jail during the time of the one failure to appear. And I don't think it's very fair that with having to go against people that have 8 years of schooling versus my hour and a half, when I've asked every day to go to the law library and kited, and there's no way that my act to speedy trial, if you need that read, can ever be met. And I got a bunch of federal laws too that if we have to go through all them, why? Or I can write them up in a motion to have more reasons for dismissal.
All right, thank you, Mr. Martinez. Mr. Downing, do you wish an opportunity to respond, or do you want an opportunity to do a written response, or where are you at with that?
That's a very rambling, if you want to call it, motion. I don't know how any kind of speedy trial is impacted here, in as much as one of these was just set for trial and the first trial date was today. He also failed to appear on the other one. He's set for sentencing on that. If he's complaining about legal research, he has a right to a court-appointed attorney to assist him in advising him of all that. I do note the record 2 handwritten responses from Mr. Martinez in response to Ms. Cass's offer letter asking to discuss the offer with her. It says nothing in there about speedy trial or anything of that nature. To the extent that he's setting himself up or trying to set himself up for these objections, I don't think there's any basis for it whatsoever. But if the court would like a written response, we would need a transcript of what he has rambled on about here in order to decide what it is exactly he's arguing.
All right, in regard to the matter, we've spent a good hour and a half or more on the record. I think it was last week, maybe the week before. We went through a whole plea colloquy. We got down to the end, the deal had been made. He decided at the last minute then he wanted to have a trial. So we set this matter over to today's date. He didn't want a lawyer then, he doesn't want a lawyer now, yet you want to complain that you don't have access. You're going up against people with 8 years of education. Which is it, Mr. Martinez? You want to represent yourself or you want a lawyer?
I want to represent myself, but I also was given false information by some court officers that I wasn't allowed to have a standby counsel or have advice by a counsel. And I know there's also a federal law that says that I'm able to have a third-party advice. So I like I said, I only got out for 2 days, really, the last 2 days. I don't know how I'm supposed to be able to study upon the law, which I stated last time that the law books are and pages are missing out of them. And I showed guards that last night. Like there's no way that will have 30 days to be able to study and defend myself from the time of this trial.
I can't get over how these two are just casually on a phone call while the judge is speaking. Like, hello, you're in court, not lounging at home ignoring spam calls. The judge is trying to run an actual legal proceeding, and these guys are acting like they're waiting on hold with customer service. This is exactly why court hearings like this should be in person. Imagine how much more ridiculous it would be watching them struggle live instead of hiding behind a phone. No Googling fake laws in the middle of the hearing. No muting themselves when they get caught. Just pure, unfiltered chaos in real time. Honestly, we should all sign a petition. Sovereign citizens must show up in person to embarrass themselves properly. That might sound harsh, but seriously, what else can you do with people like this? Let me know your thoughts, and let's get back into it.
And it states that, and there's a federal law that, and if you want to see the Speedy Trial Act, I have it right here. I can read it off.
Pretty familiar with that. I've been at it about 35 years now.
Okay.
So in regard to the matter, Mr. Martinez, your motions are denied. In regard to your lack of a speedy trial issue, the following is my finding. One, first off, I'm going to sentence you on all of these failures to appear in contempt of courts. Last week, you had the opportunity. I dismissed and purged 2 of them. If you pled on 2 of them, we got through the whole plea colloquy on that. And oh, you didn't want that either. So then we went through the hearings. And I found you guilty of 4 contempts because you failed to appear 3 times and you haven't paid. We're looking at a what, 2016 case that you still haven't paid on. So this is my sentence. You want to say anything in respect to your failures to appear sentencing before I impose sentence? Mr. Martinez.
Yes, there's federal laws state and that you cannot imprison somebody for fines being unpaid. And I already told you that I can prove that I wasn't there. You guys know the law. You're supposed to uphold it on both sides. I know that.
Well, I made my findings. You are able to appeal anything you wish.
Bogus information. You're not supposed to give me legal information. That's not you're not supposed to do that. The only thing you can tell me is I can go by representation or I'm allowed to have an attorney. You gave me bogus laws to look up and information and you were biased. So there's another reason.
Well, Mr. Martinez, your objections are noted for the record and preserved. In regard to the matter on the failure to appear and failure to pay in 162435 FY, I'm imposing 45 days in jail, 23 days of credit on both counts. In respect to 226707 ST, 2 failures to appear, 45 days in jail, credit for 23 days concurrently with the other case. However, at this point in time, Mr. Martinez is 1, serving a sentence, 2, has failed to appear numerous times in this trial previously, including several trial dates, that were set timely. And the reason that it's not going to trial, for example, I gave him a timely trial date back on April 29th of 22, and he didn't do us the courtesy of bothering to come to court. So I am finding under the court rules, there is good cause and clear and convincing evidence that's been demonstrated that he's likely to fail to appear for future proceedings, should I give him a PR bond on this case. So for those reasons, I'm leaving the bond in place. We'll set a firm trial date for July 10th. We'll trail the new file along. And if you change your mind about a lawyer in the meantime, Mr. Martinez, you can make the request to the district court clerk. She'll refer it to the Michigan Indigent Defense Commission. They'll decide whether you qualify. In the meantime, the sheriff has the purview of the resources over there. You're entitled to use the jail resources. The sheriff is the one that's going to decide what the time parameters are. I don't have any control over the sheriff. So you can complain. Your record is set. You have made your record. It's all preserved here today. But in respect to the issue, if you really want to have some assistance and get some meaningful legal advice, I would suggest you apply for a lawyer instead of just complaining about it. But that might actually get you somewhere. So I don't know, Mr. Martinez, it's on you.
I know I can be tough on judges sometimes for not shutting down sovereign citizens fast. Enough, but I have to say, this judge handled it perfectly. I don't remember her name off the top of my head, but she was incredible. No nonsense, no patience for games, just straight-up handling business. Easily a 10-10 performance. Honestly, she's right up there with Judge Oakley in terms of courtroom legends. As for the defendants, they never stood a chance. It felt like they were trying to put on some kind of weird, unorganized theater performance, except one of them was completely lost in his own fantasy world, and the other was fumbling his way through nonsense legal claims. You couldn't make up a bigger courtroom disaster if you tried. I almost feel bad for the judge, but at the same time, watching her shut them down was absolute gold. What do you guys think? Did she handle it the right way, or should she have been even tougher? Personally, I think she was as patient as humanly possible, considering she had to sit through them completely, misinterpreting basic legal concepts for way too long. If I can find the second part of this hearing, I'll definitely post it, because I need to see how much worse this gets. Something tells me they didn't suddenly find a real lawyer and start making sense. Honestly, with the way this case is going, I wouldn't even be surprised if one of them tried to claim the courtroom itself was a foreign country. Alright guys, I'm going to wrap it up here. If you enjoyed this, make sure to like and subscribe for more content. I post every single day, so stay tuned for more sovereign citizen madness. And seriously, I appreciate every single one of you for watching and commenting. Even if I don't always reply, I do read every comment and I truly appreciate your support. Thanks for watching. Take care, everyone.